Hi, and welcome to Design It with Tammy Gibbs. I'm Tammy, and today I'm working in Artistly 5, and I'm going to be using the AI Artist Playbooks. And we are going to be talking about storybook illustration and how you can use Artistly 5 to create your storybooks. Now, this is unconventional. I will be touching on the features for storybooks inside Artistly 5, but I'm going to be approaching this from the real old fashioned way of creating and writing your storybook, and then the challenge that a lot of authors have had in the past is to find an illustrator to work with. Now, I love illustrators, I love all artists, whether they're traditional artists or whether they are AI artists. The only thing that I don't care for is the lack of originality. Now, I know it's hard, and when you're getting started with all of the tools that are available, you're going to be tempted to cut yourself short. But if you have the concept, you can you can definitely um, bring your stories to life. You just have to learn the little tips and tricks of how to do that. And pretty soon you will be elevating those books, because this is the thing. And as much as I love Artistly and I love the goal that having the storybook generator and all of these generators is, which I still think are great tools and that we can still use them, they are actually working in the background on allowing us more control to use our own stories and different ways that we can illustrate. They're working on that. They've already basically told us that. So you're going to see an evolution, I believe, within the platform to give us even more tools to be able to do things in a way that allow us to be more creative and less generic with it. And, the thing is, Artistly is so inexpensive until, even if you're not trying to sell things, like if you're just wanting to have a little storybook that has your grandchildren in it, or you want to give them for gifts and stuff, then I mean, there is no harm in using storybook creators and things like that to make it faster. But the thing is, you everyone's looking for that personalized thing. So the more personalized you can make it, the better. So today, what I want to do is just go back and already the writing community is all up in arms about the use of AI. Many artists are embracing AI. Many authors are embracing it for the ways that it can help with research. It can help with a lot of things that does not take away their human element into their stories. And even YouTube is now, well, Etsy a few weeks back, even, and I don't know when you're going to be watching this, but Etsy changed its creativity standards to mean that if you were going to sell AI art, it had to be from your original prompts, however you got that original. So you had to tweak your prompts, and you have to do those things to even sell on Etsy. Now, following suit, or actually, YouTube says that it is reinforcing its rules or whatever about its monetization, is that channels that do not have a human element and human creativity basically involved, and I'm summarizing here. Please go and read all of the information for yourself so that you can make up your mind. But YouTube has come out with these things that are trying to encourage and people to be more creative, to use the AI in creative ways, but to amplify their own creativity and talent. And so I believe right now that's the trend. And so what this video is going to do is help prepare you for those trends where you're going to need to have a little bit more involvement in it, not just click a button and have the whole thing done for you. And I think, like I said, I think Artistly, I believe that the developers already kind of know where this is going. So they've been gradually beginning to add even more flexibility in there, tweaking and working on that. Now, I'm not sure how long it'll take them to get that. And by the time you're watching this, they may already have it. But this is going to be basic information that you'll be able to carry over to however that turns out. So I'm going to be showing you ways that you can illustrate um, without those creators. Now, we do have the consistent character feature, and I'm going to be kind of, working with that and giving you a few little tips on how that works. They have come a long way with the consistent character feature. And so, anyway, I just really wanted to touch on this because this is something that I'm going to be working on in the future for my personal shop. I've got a lot of children's books that I, for years, have literally tried to find illustrators that I could, number one, afford, and number two, that even would call me back. I tried offline, for trying to get someone. And sometimes it is a little bit difficult to bridge that gap between the story and the style of illustration that you want. So I have a lot of those that I'd like to get out, but I just have not had the means because I cannot draw. I've said that before. So anyway, let's jump in and let's get started. Okay, so we're going to create design. We're going to go under the Fast AI Image Designer. And then I'm going to go over to the personal designs, and I'm going to show you some of what I worked on before the video. And this is for a storybook that I am building. So I don't have all of the text for it yet. This is sort of my concept phase. So basically, I have the idea for my story. I have bits and pieces, kind of a rough draft, and I am now trying to work on some illustrations for the storybook. So basically, this is done in a very minimalistic style, and it is featuring as the main character this cute little bunny here. And I actually created it using my AI artist Playbook. I used elements from the AI artist Playbook Volume 2, as well as the minimalist illustration setting. So now let me take and show you what I did from this base image that I started with and how I went in and began to tweak. Now, this is not a perfect process, but let's do some comparison again, because I always like to say, okay, if it's not perfect the first time, if you spend 30 minutes or an hour, imagine how long it would take you if you were hand painting these illustrations. You could have a day in one illustration to get it the way that you want it, or longer, because that's just what traditional art is. So when we get really upset about the time invested in creating these illustrations, the more custom your illustration is, the more style that you put into your images, and the more I guess different they're going to be, then it may take a little bit more time, because it becomes not mass produced, like just creating 4 images and boom, everything's perfect. you're beginning to tweak and look at each image as an individual project rather than part of a whole pack. Now, I do sell clip arts, so obviously I do that when I don't, you don't need the level of customization with clip art that you do with doing book illustrations. So anyway, so we're going to go up into the consistent character setting here. And we're going to choose from the library. And I'm going to go all the way down to the Storybook folder. And then I am going to select him. Then I'm going to use this space to tell what I want that character to be doing. Now, I have found with my bunny in specific, because I have the little flopsy ears that point down, I found that if I didn't clarify a little bit the ears, that for some reason when I was using the consistent character, it made his ears stand up again. And you probably saw that in the images that I showed you. So now what we want to do is put him in, do something different with him. He is wearing the rain boots and the rain jacket, the polka dots, and we're going to see if we can put him in different clothes, like to show like maybe what he's wearing underneath all of that. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to tell the consistent character feature to change the clothes that the bunny is wearing to denim overalls. He will still be wearing the yellow rain boots. His ears are still pointing down. And we're going to click Generate Image. And there we go. I kind of like that it kept the little rain hat on, though. That's kind of cute. So now this fits right in with what the story is going to be. We're going to move him over to so that we can kind of compare him. Let's just drag it all the way down and put him in there. Let's move him there. I believe the problems that most people are having with the consistent character feature is, for one, every single image is not going to be consistent the way that you want it. And again, I'm back to it takes some time. Just go back in there and do it. But another trick that I have found is to get the best results if you go back to your more original images. Like, for instance, if I want the bunny to be wearing this, then I'm going to have to select this image and not go back to my original one and then ask it to put it in the same outfit. Okay? Because then it's going to come up with a different outfit. Even if you ask for the same thing, you ask for the denim, it's going to be different than this one. So we're going to have to say, keep this outfit, because I actually was very successful. Let's look again. All the way down here. And I have a lot of folders. Unfortunately, it's getting... Okay. So I've been I was really good with these outfits. You know, it was very consistent when I was testing. Now, this is where I learned about the putting the ears up. If I did not state in uh, the prompt that I wanted his ears to stay down, then I ended up getting the ears up on him, which is okay. But we were able to fix it. Now, if we want to bring these other characters, see, these characters are all in basically the same style, drawing style. So that's another key to doing your illustrations is make sure that you're working within the same thing, even if you want to have different characters. So a lot of people, I think, are trying to do everything in one image, and that's just not the way to go. You're going to want to bring in these different images into a different when you're putting your book together. And I'm going to go into Canva and show you a way you can do it in Canva. um, Unfortunately, right now you could probably, you may be able to build a single page at a time, but if you kind of want to make a consistent document to be able to work with, right now Artistly doesn't, even in their Canva like interface, in the advanced part, you can't do multiple pages at one time. So that's why I would probably shift over and put that stuff together either in like Affinity Publisher. Affinity Publisher is really good because it's a one-time pay and you can work on it offline as well as, you don't have to, it's not like Canva, so you can work on it. If you've got an outage where your internet's not working, you can still be working and productive. So I have Affinity, the whole suite, and it was very affordable. They run sales all the time. But Canva, is a good go-to. The only drawback I see is, it being completely online based. But anyway, so we're going to do that also in a little while, but we're going to take and we are going to play with um, this little duck right here. So we're going to go back out over here and go into the consistent characters again. And for these animals and stuff, we're going to be working with the 3D and 2D style. And I know they have the multiple consistent characters. I feel like if you learn the base and then you learn how to put these things together, then you're going to end up with a better storybook and more control over the way that your book looks and feels. And like when you put it on KDP or, you have it printed out, you're going to end up with a product that looks more like the way that you want it to. So that's the perspective that I'm doing the video with. So let's choose from the library and let's go back to our little duck. And I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so we're going to select this little duck. And then we're going to say, the duck should be wearing a denim baseball cap. So we're kind of keeping the character with the whole denim thing. And there we go. So now we have a cute little denim cap. And we're going to move him over here as well to our folder so we can sort of compare him. Okay, so, and there he is inside our folder. So you can see there he is. And this was what he looked like before. So very cute. Very, very cute. It basically the exact same thing, only and he's sitting in the same puddle. We just added that to it. So let's see what else we can do with him. So let's say that we want him. We're going to go in here. We're going to select him again. Oops. Let's see. Let's go backwards. Back and back. Sorry about that. Back. I want to have one of them where the folder's open. Sorry about that. So I don't have to keep going through this just to show you guys. There we go. All right. So now we're going to go over here, go into consistent characters. We're going to select him again. And since he's wearing the cap, okay, so he's wearing the cap. So if we want to, okay, the duck is sitting in a patch of grass. Okay, so let's try that. We have not indicated to keep what he's wearing, so it may take that off, but we're just going to see what it does. A little bit of trial and error, sometimes with working with the consistent characters. Okay, so yeah, it took him out of that one. Okay, yeah, we need to go back. So we're going to go back to to this image again. And that's an example of how these things can go. And again, we're going back to that image. And we look then to our wording. Okay. So instead of phrasing it the way we did, we're now going to just say, keep everything the same except replace the water puddle with grass. So it's all in the way you're going to word it. There we go. And see, that's how you do it. He's exactly the same, only now he's sitting in a patch of grass. Okay, so if you start having problems with your consistent characters, go back, look at how you phrased it, and how you can simplify for the AI exactly the changes that you want. Now, this is better than trying to bog it down with super complicated things. Now, with children's art, that's going to be really easy. Now, when you start getting into some adult things, then you're going to have to adapt a little bit to get your consistent characters with your backgrounds and stuff like that. And this is another place that we need to think about. So let's just say that we want to do this, but we want to create, have a little bit more background. Okay, well, that's fine. But we can actually create the backgrounds separately as long as they're in the same and matching style. as to the characters. So you don't have to make the characters and the backgrounds all together. You can make them in different pieces. Like, for instance, we can also go back in to the consistent characters, and we can go back in and we can choose him. And then we can say, keep everything the same except remove the patch of grass. Okay. Then that would give us the image of the duck sitting basically on blank, and then we could replace that and have him sitting in the grass. There we go. So now we have a workable image that we could actually take, and we could actually set him anywhere. And I'm going to show you how we can use him inside the Canva in a little while, like how we can put him in different backgrounds and stuff. So, okay. So let's just say we wanted to now use this as our base. Okay. We're going to go back into consistent characters, and let's just see to what degree we can personalize this particular image. So keep everything the same, but add a white one on, or let's see, let's just say number 1 on the hat. Okay. So let's set, because now we could, if we were writing about, let's just say, a ball team that, that's getting rained out or something, and we wanted the duck was going to be the number 1. There we go. Now we have a number 1 on there. Okay. Now, what we can do is go back in, and let's just say we need that duck to stand up. Whoops, wrong one. And we want him to be wearing the number 1, and let's see. There we go. Keep everything the same, but the duck is standing now, or is standing. Okay, there we go. Now our duck is standing. Now it did not keep him in the outfit. So now we have one that we could actually, I could use. I could use it just like this, but I'm going to show you like our evolving story now. Let's just say that now we need this duck. Let's go back into consistent characters. It's okay that he's not in his the polka dotted outfit anymore. Let's just say we've got him now. He's standing. It's our same duck. And we want him to keep everything the same, but the duck is wearing a white t-shirt with or a white jersey shirt with the quacks written on it in baseball jersey style. This is a little complicated and I don't expect it to work, but if it does, it'll be pretty great. I could have said baseball jersey with that written on it, and I probably would. If this doesn't work, then I'll go back and change that, and we'll see how that works. But so far, you can see that the quacks. Okay, so it's not exactly the look I was going for, but we did get the jersey on there, so, and that looks kind of cute. So you see that we have evolved now to the point where we could even go in and we could choose this one. Keep everything the same, but put a baseball on the ground beside the duck. Okay. Of course, you could always just create a baseball and then set it there yourself. So, you know, when you're doing illustration, it's different than doing clip art. So you can build your images and build your scenes for your pages for your storybook. And there we go. There's the baseball. So as you can see, Artistly can do very good with the consistent images. You just have to learn how to evolve your images, choose which ones you are, not go back to the beginning, because I think that's where a lot of people are making the mistake. They're going back to the beginning and trying to get it to render the same consistency when actually they're starting at the beginning again. So it's going to be an evolution. And using the keys like keep everything the same, or same style, same colors, same character, but dressed like this. These are the things that are going to be important when you're trying to prompt for consistent images and consistent characters. So let's just say now. So if we're going to be creative, we would have to go back to the beginning. We would have to find our original image, which this is not him. Let me find my original image back here. Now, one thing you can do, and this is something that a lot of people, for instance, they've asked this question, how do I keep up with my upscaled images, or how do I, how do I keep them separate? Because it is kind of aggravating to keep going and clicking and going, oh, this one, I can't do anything to it because it's already been edited. So I need those original images. Now, to do the consistent characters, it'll still let you select those. So you don't have to be as concerned about it. But when you want to go back and you want to make some major edits, okay, so I'm inside my file, and let's just say I want to go back to my original bunny right here. So this is my original bunny and my original prompt. So this is going to get me that style, okay? So let's think about what we could do. We have this base image prompt. And so instead of a cute little flop-eared bunny, let's try a little pink piglet with rounded features. Okay. And rounded body, simple minimalist, dot eyes, and simple minimal features. You have to change all of it. The piglet Has relaxed ears. Since it doesn't really have ears, then we're going to move that. Has a, we don't need any of that. Let's say the piglet is standing in a small puddle. The piglet is wearing yellow and white polka dotted rain jacket, and let's say that it is wearing a blue and white polka dotted. It's a pink pig, so let's make it wear a blue and white polka dotted rain jacket and solid blue rain boots. Okay, so we're going to try to generate this image and see how close we get to our new character that could go along with our book. There we go. So now we have our pink pig that could go along with our storybook with our bunny. And so let's see how we could take and put him in the storybook. So we have our minimalist look. We have the dots for eyes. Let's move him to our storybook folder. And then we'll move on and we will put him in different scenes. The first thing we'll probably do is go into the consistent characters. We're going to choose him. Whoops. Let's see. I moved him. So let's go down here and select him. So instead of creating in that main folder, sorry about that, I got cut off. And you can set up a folder for upscaled and edited images. And that way you can move those into the folder and have them separated. And then you know when you go in your regular folders that the one you pull up is going to have your prompt where you can regenerate. Now, let me say this because it's a perfect time to remind you, do not delete from the main feed of your personal designs. If you do, the image is gone forever. So you're basically just, the folders are not like the traditional sense of a folder. It's actually more like a bookmark type thing where it's still connected to, it's like a shortcut for those images to find those images and separate them. It does not physically move that into a separate place. So it's just a divider set for the main personal folder. So you can't delete from your personal feed. It just does not work that way. So the only organization you have is to move it into your files and your folders. Now, another thing that I need to remind you about is get something like my prompt keeper that I sell on Etsy. Build one of your own if you don't want to purchase one. But mine's done based on Canva, so you can just pull it up. It's like a template. You can make as many copies of it as you want, and you can divide it up with people, animals, whatever kind of divisions you want to. But then you want to save your prompt. Once you find one that is really working well for you and you want to save it and never lose it, then take that prompt, take a sample image that prompt created and merge it into your document off of Artistly, because if something happens with Artistly, you're going to lose all your prompts and all of your, you won't be able to recreate any of your images. Having said that, also make sure that once you are happy with your images, go ahead and download them and store them. Grab you an external hard drive or something, back it up online. Those images that you work so hard for, don't risk losing them. So just a little reminder there. Okay, so here's our piggy character. And now we can say keep everything the same. But the piglet should be holding a bouquet of flowers. Okay. So generate the image. And then this is how you build storybooks. I mean, this is how you build your characters for your storybooks. Now we're going to start thinking about other elements, because these elements right by themselves may not be enough for us to, there we go. So now our piglet is holding a bunch of flowers. Now the problem I have with this is the piglet, and this is my fault because it didn't dawn on me. Some animals, like the pig's going to have hooves, and it's going to be really hard to get it to render for the hooves. So maybe instead of holding that, we would need to go back in, do consistent character, and we would have to change it somehow so that, because it's holding it, but it's not anatomically correct. So let's say this. Let's say keep everything the same except the piglet isn't, except remove the bouquet, and the piglet should be sitting on a garden bench surrounded by grass and flowers. Remove the puddle. Okay, so now we're going to put him in more of a garden kind of setting. So we'll get flowers, but we'll have him sitting on a bench, hopefully. And we'll still get some flowers in there. There we go. Now, the one thing that's a little bit odd is the way that his hand is right here. Easily fixed there, because that's awkward. So, I would probably go back in. Y'all, I'm an avoider. So if there's any way to prompt out of problems, I'm going to do that. So let me just show you what I would do with this situation. We're going to have this. And I'm going to say keep everything the same except the piglet hands are in the rain jacket pocket. So now his hands hopefully will be in his pockets, and you won't be able to tell that AI did not create that just right. And that is, to me, much easier than trying to prompt that. Well, it did not do it. That's the first time I've had it, it didn't actually. Okay, so let's do this. I think this is one of those times where we needed to go back kind of to the beginning. So let's go back to our piggy, our original piggy. Let's go back all the way to our beginning and start over with that. Okay. So now we're back to our pig here. Okay, so let's just start in the beginning. Keep everything the same, but the piglet should be sitting on a garden bench with his hands or hooves in his pockets. And let's just see if that works. It's probably going to have, since I didn't say do away with the puddle, it's probably going to have the bench sitting in the puddle, but that's okay. I'm just trying to help you. Okay. So this is where people really get aggravated. So this is how this is beginning to freak out a little bit. You're not getting consistency here. So we finally reached that point, and this is where people get frustrated. And I'm going to show you how you can handle it, okay? When that happens, let's go back and let's try it again. Okay. So we're going to go back, not to that one. We're going to go back into our original image that we did. And then I'm going to give you some troubleshooting tips, okay? Okay. So when Artistly gets tired, which is what's happened, we're going to break it down and we're going to say keep the style of the piglet the same as this image. But the piglet, but remove the puddle and have the piglet standing on grass and surrounded. Let's see, that's broad. So standing on grass with flowers growing up from the patch of grass. Okay. There we go. So now we're back to where we were. We still have the same actual stance as in our original image now. So it's not that you can't stop it there, but when you're doing consistent characters, if you keep building on the wrong prompt or trying to take that prompt and go backwards, then that's not going to work. You're going to have to go all the way back to your original image and then change up the way that you're phrasing it. So this word like this, keep the style of the piglet the same. So that cued it to keep all of the coloring and not bounce you over here to this, which is not consistent at all. Okay, but now we're back to where we were. Okay, so now if we go back in and we choose this one and we want to stay with this, but maybe not use this exact one, we can say the same thing. Let's try now, keep everything the same style, but put the piglet hands in his pockets or in the pockets of the rain jacket. Let's try to get his hands in his pockets. So see, we have taken and I've shown you how you can adjust Once you get the style that you really like, and that's where my playbooks come in, colors, clothing, all that sort. There we go. Perfect. So now we have the image the way we wanted it. See? His hands are in his pockets. Okay. So now we could go in and we could go back to consistent characters. Back in here, we're going to choose him because we've got him the way we want him now. And now we're just going to say keep keep the style the same for everything, but remove the grass and flowers. And then we're going to try to have that get backwards to where, now could you originally have just said, create it, on a white background? You could try. We were starting from the duck image and the bunny image, if you remember. So we already had it standing on water. So then we converted it to the grass okay, well, it did not remove the grass. So let's try that again. It did remove the flowers. So we can just try it again with this one. Okay, and we can just say remove the grass and try that and see if that works. I really think keeping everything else the same is the way to go most of the time, by telling it to keep everything, but we can try it with this one since it's a simple command to see if it'll work. There we go. Okay, so now we have that image that is just standing with its, this is a little bit not far enough in there. Now that I see it, it kind of looks like that could probably be corrected with the little magic eraser or something like that. Or, we could prompt it to stick its hands farther into the pockets. I didn't notice that on this one over here, but that's okay. Okay, so I think you get the idea about your consistent characters. So now let's jump into creating those original characters. Or better yet, let's jump in and let me work with these in Canva and show you a couple of tips there first, and then we'll work into that. Okay, so this is my suggestion. Set you up something like this as like a storyboard, and then what you can do is, let's just say I'm going to download this one, and I'm going to download this one. And then I'm going to show you. I'm going to upload those. I'm not uploading them into the folder like I normally do with most of my stuff. For projects, I would do that if this was like, if I were really getting started with my my book, then I would do that. Okay, so what you can do is, okay, let's just say this is going to be one of our pages. So we could put, that's going to be on the right hand side, and then here we would pull in, this would be like where our writing would go on this side. Okay, so you can do it kind of like that, and then you can have a space here for your writing, but this is just so you can work out your scenes. And let's just say you were going to have, okay, so I'm going to show you, we're going to set this up. So let's just say that I'm going to pull something out if I can find one of my trees that, let's go to projects and folders. Whimsical Woods. That's not the. Forest. Let's go to folders. Okay, I'm going to go into the picnic party because I believe that I have a tree in here. Yes, let's just say we're going to use this tree. Okay, so we're going to have this tree here. Let's just say we want to build out a sky background. I'm going to do this from scratch, but you could go ahead and have like a basic um, background that you create in Artistly that then you can overlay everything. But for now, I'm going to show you how you can do it kind of from the bottom up. We're going to go into our colors here and pick out just sort of let's do elements, and let's just say background. Now, I wouldn't use these if I'm selling a product. It would have to be for, and I'm going to say grass and sky. Okay. So let's look at these graphics. And okay, so here's some basics here. Now, what I would do is I'd go here and do free and only use something that has, so we could use something like, let's see. I would try to create these on my own, but I'm just showing you. Okay, let's just use this one here. Nope, not that one. Let's try this one. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull this one in, and we want to match it to our animals. Okay, so we're going to go back here. We're going to go to our animals. Okay, so we've got our little patch of right here. We're going to remove his background. And of course, I'd upscale all these before I actually brought them in. But let's just say we're going to have, this is our center line, like that shows the two sides of our book. And we're going to now try to match. If you're working with something like this, then we're going to want to go in and sort of work with the elements to see kind of how we can match up the look of our, this is why it's better to do them, sort of design them fade like that. See, now to me that kind of fits a little bit better. We can actually also do the same thing with him. No, not with him, not that much. Okay, sort of like this, whimsical. All right, so then you have kind of a little background here. We could even put the puddle, fix it so that the puddle is on the road. And we would do this like that. Move our bunny like this. And I would probably, if I were doing it like that, I would then edit and go over here to the magic eraser, and I would erase this little bit of like that, so that you don't have flowers or anything growing on that side of it like that. Then we could move our little pig like this. All right. And then now we've built kind of a little scene for our story. And let's just do this. We want to move the tree out completely. So now we have to move our little piglet over a little bit. because he's walking, but he's right there. Okay. We could even flip him this way. And we could have him. Whoops, I flipped the wrong thing. Let's flip him. Okay. So we could flip him like this, and we could have the petal like that. If we did this, maybe we wouldn't want maybe we would want the tree, or we might not want the tree. We could even make it where we're talking about the little pig, but we want him a little smaller. And then this is where you come in and do real storybooks, is to layer in on top of if you go into your grandchildren or your children's library, pick out some storybooks and look and see how they have illustrated them. And that's where you're going to get the magic from. That's where you're going to be able to know exactly how you should be to keep it, because it's okay to create a storybook and get it listed on KDP. It's a lot harder to sell storybooks or to create a franchise with your story characters. Let's just say you want to have your same characters, but you want to do a whole series of books. So you need to design so that you can put those characters in different situations and carry them through several books. You also need to come up with a type and style that is going to be something that you can actually market and sell. And so the more you have into this, so let's just say this is the way that we would do. So we have our text here. We would come over here and we would do the bits of our story. Let's name our piglet Pete. Pete decided to rest under the tree, or under a tree on the side of the road. Then we would align it properly. There we go. Pete decided to rest under a tree on the side of the road. And then you could play with your fonts, and you could even do a funny font like this. You just want to make sure your fonts are consistent. Okay. Same thing with your cover image. You can take and build it. Now, let me give you a little hint. So let's just say we wanted to, I'm going to copy this one. We're going to duplicate this page. This was a free image, so it was from the free images. We're going to remove these features. So let's say we don't want to use this image, but we want to take it back into Artistly, and we want to download this page 3, because we just want to download this image. We want a similar image to go in our storybook, but we don't want to use that free one because we really don't know if that was freely given to one of those sites or if it was somebody that didn't have the rights to it. So what we want to do now is we want to go back into the AI Art Illustrator and find the minimal setting, minimalist illustration, and we want to sort of just find the mirror magic over here, browse, and we want this image. We want it to be described. Oops, I did something wrong. Hang on. Browse here. Okay, so we want to, it hadn't finished uploading, I think is what happened. We describe it, use the prompt, and then we're going to look at it. A serene landscape, blah, 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 blah. Rolling hills. We want to add, let's go back over here and let's go into our, move the grass. That's not the one. Let's go all the way back to him, I think. Okay, so we want to, this watercolor illustration, we want to tag that because we want to see if we can get this illustration as close to what we had before. So we're going to mimic that to the front of it. And then we're going to, instead of doing it that size, we're going to try to find this one so that it's in the dimension that we want it to be in. And I did not add watercolor, but I'm going to probably have to go back in there and add the watercolor parts to it. That's not bad, actually. And that does give us a similar look, not just like that one. We can regenerate it a couple of times and maybe do 4 to see which, because the cool thing is, if they're kind of similar, we may be able to use them on different pages of the book. So we're not really wasting, we're picking out which ones we are. Okay, so this has got several choices. This one to me looks the closest to like kind of what we were doing. So I'm going to download it and then we're going to pull it in. I did not do the proper shape. So let me, now that I realize I didn't do that, let me go back and do it the proper shape because I'm not sure that one will fit in like we want it to. So let's go back to this right here. Let's do 4 of those. These are really so much fun. I mean, when you're really doing, you have your story, this is on a fake story, basically. I'm probably going to write it out. But if you have your own story and then you can do these, oh, that looks good. Okay, so this one right here looks really good. I like that one for the scene that we were working on. And so we're going to eliminate this one right now. We're going to make a copy of this, duplicate the page, and now we, excuse me, we're going to take this one that we just did, and we are going to just drag it in, and there we go. Look at that. Now, I had changed that to like that little faded look. Now, our piglet needs to be kind of adjusted. Now, see, that one works well with that background. But let's just say the intensity. No, let's see. Let's just see if we see anything else, a different one that maybe would blend in even better. That takes away his little color, so nostalgic. Now that one works pretty good. That one blends in perfectly. We could make him a little bit bigger, and then I would put him like right there. Let's fix it so that you can actually see. I want part of it on the road. But now if we were going to do our style of our book in this real faded, to me this reminds me of like Winnie the Pooh. Kind of that very light watercolor kind of look. And now all of these elements are your own. You have worked with your prompt. You have had it generate images to your tweaking, because we didn't even we did the mirror, but then we went in and we tweaked that prompt and put in our minimalist information and stuff like that. Then now we actually, back here, we have these multiple different ones that we could pull in for different scenes, because these all look like they could be on the side of a road. Let's download this one and let me show you how you could go on to the next scene. We could duplicate this page. And let's just say we want to pull in this one, and then we want to pull this image in, but this time we're going to do it a little bit differently. Now, see, we didn't have to change the coloring or anything. You know, we have our, we could do several things. We could pull it down like this, and then we get more of the tree. Now, we're going to remove, we're going to leave him there. We're going to leave him there, and I'm going to show you kind of what you can do. We could move this down here. We could take this image and, like, let's just say we want to put our writing here. So we need to edit this through the magic eraser here. We're just going to reduce this down a little bit. And then this is the, I think the image the place that we need to erase. So we're going to erase that so that let's go back over here and let's do that again so that we have a place where we can do our writing. Okay, so see, now we have a perfect place for our writing to sit. Okay, there we go. Now, let's try this. Let's try this one, and let's drag him over. We're going to remove his background. And now what we're going to do is let's flip him where he kind of looks a little bit more that way. And let's make him a little smaller. And then we're going to go back in, and we know that that's not it. Hang on. This is, okay, that is from the fade. This one is from fade. Okay. Okay. Okay, back over here. Let's see. We're going to make sure that this one is the same one, the nostalgia one. Okay, so now I've got it all matched up. We want this one to go over here to the nostalgia. There we go. And then we can Pete found some pretty flowers on the side of the road. So, I mean, that's kind of how you do it, how you can take it and how you can build it. This one right here, if we wanted to kind of, let's do this back. Let me show you another little trick here. Let's go up here to the adjust, and let's maybe adjust the vibrancy down a little bit. There we go. So let's fix it where it kind of matches a little bit better. And we could even do that here with this one as well. Edit, go to adjustment. If we're still, trying to make it, we want to make it blend into that scene and match that as close as possible. So there we go. So that kind of matches it a little bit better. And also, once you've kind of done this, once you have removed, let me just show you. Once you, like for instance, if this already had the background removed for this one, let's see. I'm going to make a copy just so I don't mess up with that one's a little more pinker. Let's go back in here and fix this first. Let's go back to this one and to the adjust and go to the vibrancy and let's make him a little pinker again. There we go. We kind of want him to be the same. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to duplicate this page again just so we're not messing up the other one. So, okay. So let's just say we were going to, I'm going to do this one just in case. Okay. So what we could do is we can put our pig in here, remove the background. Okay. Then we can try to drag him over. Well, let's try it a different way. It's not going to work that way. Okay, so let's just pretend that we're doing this differently. Okay, I'm going to go into Pixel Cut. So I can go ahead and have the backgrounds removed for these. Let's go into our downloads and our pig right here and this one. No, let's just do this one. Okay, so we want to remove his background and we can upscale him and then we're going to download him. Okay, we're going to download him. And then we're going to go back in here. Okay, we're going to upload now that version that's upscaled and it is already has the background removed. And we're in this one, we're going to take him and we're going to drag him in here. Okay, so we did that, but it did not. Yes, it did. Okay, that's what I wanted it to do. I wanted to show you that you can drag your images in, like, and then you can drag them around, but it's going to pick up where you're not having to go in there and change it to the nostalgia. So it basically went in and did that. And then, like, you can flip it like you wanted it like that, but it picked up and went ahead and now see it adopted that nostalgia and you didn't have to go in there and select it because you drug your pig. Now, that doesn't mean you have to keep him here. See, we could move him over here. We could make him smaller. You know, we could do whatever we wanted to him. And we could do the same thing, you know, like this one doesn't already have that background removed. But if it did, if you already have those ready to go, then you can just drag and drop them the way you want to them, just like you did with the backgrounds. See, we've got this background. This is a copy. But let's say we wanted this one done instead. Then we could do that, and it's going to change that, and it's going to already be like that. Which now that one was the one that's this one that we had created originally. And then now we have this one, you know, that we could do pretty flowers. We just go in and once we have our little text box done, then we could move this up here, you know, for that one. So you want to look at where's the best place to place your text and where you want to, how big you want your. Okay, well, now, okay, so we've got it like that. Let me show you how you can take, let's go back into Pixel Cut. I'm going to go back over here. And we're going to go to the tools. Okay, we're going to remove the background. We're going to upload. Let's upload the duck, but let's see which one of these we want to do. Yeah, let's do this duck. Okay, we're going to remove the background, and we're going to now upscale him. And then we're going to download him. Okay. All right, we're going to go back into our scene for our storybook. We're going to upload our duck. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a copy of this character. Okay. So now we've got the character. We're going to drag this into that box and let it do its magic so that it matches our. So we set it up in the very beginning, and now all we have to do is adjust. So now we have this. We've brought in another friend. Now, it would be better, and I'm just doing this as an example. We're going to flip him so he looks like he's more looking at the pig. Flip. Nope. Back that way. Okay. So let's just say here's the pig, and then we've got this little duck sitting on the side of the road. So this would be better if our pig was our pig that did not have anything. So let's just do this pig. And let's upload the image of the pig. And we're going to upscale him and then download him. Now, we could do this in bulk. I'm just doing this because it takes less time, and it's where I'm really trying to show you guys how you can develop these storybooks and how you can create them using Canva and using your Artistly. Okay, so now we're going to upload him because he would be better in this scene. And then we're going to go back over here and let's pick one of our other scenes here. So one of our other trees, which would be a really good one for, we've done that one. Let's do this one. Okay. We're back in our, oops. Okay, my computer's doing weird things. Okay, so let's just say I'm gonna make a copy, duplicate this one just to show you, and then we're gonna leave our two characters here, okay, and we are going to upload our pig and our background here, and then I'm gonna show you how to incorporate the two into a scene. Okay, so we're gonna take this tree and we're gonna drag it into there, and it's going to change it to with the filter so that it shows what we want it. We're going to take that now and we're going to flip it. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. We're going to flip it like this. So now we're on this side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our pig that already has the background removed, and we're going to pop it in there, and it's going to update the colors. Okay. So now we have our pig. We're going to flip our pig. Oops. Wrong way. Okay. So we're going to take this and we're going to, this is our scene. We're going to put our little duck here. We're going to flip him around this way so he's facing the pig. And then our pig, we're going to put here, and we're going to flip him this way. And then we're going to move our writing. So Pete found a friend. Are you lost? Pete asked the little duck. I'm literally writing a book right in front of your eyes. Okay. Pete found a friend. Are you lost? Pete asked the little duck. And then the next page, and again, duplicate the page so you're not starting all over. Same scene, but it can be the duck. I can draw it where we just show more of the scene of the duck and the and our text could be, I'm just taking a rest. My name is Matilda. What's your name? Asked. Matilda. See how you can develop the story? We've got him walking a little closer to the duck. The duck's still sitting there. But then on the next page, when you just duplicate that page, you could take and pull the road up a little bit. You could go and grab. We had the duck that was standing. Well, I don't have a duck that's standing that didn't have the hat on it. But anyway, you could go back in and that duck you could create the duck just standing and then both of them the duck could be joining him and say, or you could have both of them over here and then Pete could say, would you like to join me? I'm headed for the castle. And Pete asked, and then they could join each other on the road. So that's pretty much how you do it. And like I said, you could move this wherever you wanted to. As long as you can read the writing, you could even lower it down here where it's closer like this. I mean, that's going to be up to you for each page section, each spread. Well, the next thing I want to do, and this is going to be just very short because I do have a lot of other workshops with using the playbooks to actually come up with your characters. So I'm going to be really brief with that on this particular one. If you haven't watched some of my Mastering AI Art videos on how to use the AI artist playbooks, if you don't have them, they are just invaluable tools. I'm not just saying that because I put them together, but I did it for myself originally. That was basically my plan, was to have a resource that I did all the research, and then all the research just came together in a form that it was just way too good not to share with others. And it's become a whole thing. So now there are so many different digital product artists and AI artists that are using the playbooks to bring their art to a new level and learn prompting to create their own custom images, to add those special touches that set them apart from other AI art that seems to look like the same thing over and over again. So, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Let's pop over. I'm going to just do one little example of how you can build characters like these using the AI Artist Playbook. So let's go back into the AI Art Illustrator. And what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to go over into my into my folders, and I'm going to, let's go into one of these folders, and I'm just going to grab out, oh, here are some of those cute trees I was wanting a little while ago. Okay. So let's just say we've got, that's just a basic thing. Okay. So this is an example of what we could potentially use in a storybook. And I have used lots of elements from my AI artist playbook. So this aged parchment effect, the vintage dark yellowed look, pastel hues, all of these things are various, I call them ingredients that you use to create great prompts. So the warm glowing highlights, soft painterly edges, all of those things are things that I enhanced my prompt with to get different looks. So I'm taking that basic prompt, and then now I'm going to show you how you can, okay. So this one is actually using the photorealistic. We don't want that setting. So we're going to go back in. We're going to copy this prompt that I created using the AI Artist Playbook. And then I'm going to show you how to tweak it. And we're going to take it into the AI Art Illustrator now. We're going to do a test design under the minimalist illustration. Okay. To see what we come up with. This is where we kind of begin to adapt. And I find some wonderful treasures in my old prompts. And then we just have to adapt them. Okay, so now we took our basic prompt, and now we have come up with a really cute image for our storybook. Okay, so we've got our watercolor, beautiful little girl with a smile dressed up as a princess wearing a beautiful gown with aged parchment effect. Now, we want her to be standing. Little girl with a smile dressed up like a princess wearing a beautiful gown and satin slippers. Okay, so if you do satin slippers, then that is hopefully, and then what we're going to do also is we're going to make her more portrait oriented to try to get like a full figure instead of having her cut off so that we can use her in our storybook. Okay, so this is the image then, making her into a storybook image. We need to tweak her until we get her just the way we want to. Okay, so let's take the smile out because the smile is a little overemphasized there. And we're going to say with long brown hair and a bow, let's see, hair tied up with a bow, dressed up as a princess wearing a beautiful gown and satin slippers with aged parchment effect. Okay, so we're going to go in again and we're going to do this. And this is where we have to come up with that character, that image that we need, the right look for our little princess. I did not tell it to do a long dress, but hopefully it's going to do a longer dress. It did do a longer dress, and that's kind of cute. Okay, so we got the bow, and she is really cute. Now, I would probably use her for a different book, not a princess book. But what we can do is we can go into our volume 2. We're going to go into we're going to go into try this one. Okay, so we're going to go into the Regal Fantasy Royalty Luxury Dresses and Majestic Crowns. Okay, we're going to take that now into our image, and we're going to kind of dress it up. And we're still doing it under the minimalist, but we're going to, and we've got the pastel colors and all that. Okay, so wearing a beautiful gown and satin slippers. We're going to do parentheses and we're going to paste this Regal Fantasy Royalty style. Luxurious gold embroidered dresses, majestic crown, embroidered dress, crown with aged department. Okay. Okay, the hair can't be tied up with the bow. We're going to remove the bow because we want her to have a crown. Brown hair. So we're going to remove that. And beautiful long gown. Okay. Go back in, choose our aspect ratio. And now, hopefully, we're going to get a little bit more princessy look. There we go. Okay, so she has long hair and everything. We're going to regenerate this one 4 times to see if we land on just the right look for our character. Okay. So now, I like this one. I think she's probably the one that we should go with. And so, yeah. Okay. So what we want to do is we would take her into the consistent characters. We'd pull her in. Let's see, where's she at? right here. Okay. Then we want her to be this aspect ratio. And let's say, keep the style and everything the same, but the princess should be wearing a purple dress or purple gown. And let's see. Well, it's been going pretty fast, but for some reason. Okay, I'm going to try it again. Let's try doing it again. Just because I'm not real patient. So let's choose her. Okay. So keep everything the same, but the princess gown should be purple. Or change the dress to purple. To a purple color. Okay. Maybe it'll keep the same dress, but just make it purple. Oh, actually, here we go. So here she is. And did it keep our detail? Oh, that's not the same girl, actually. This is the one. And yes, it. Okay, so I had a little oopsie and just basically did not record like 20 minutes. So I'm going to cut it a little bit short. So, where I left off was creating the princesses in the purple, and then I basically went in and created using the same prompt, showed how to create a different one. This one was with the dreamy invitation style, and then I made her hold some flowers. I didn't like the watercolor one. I'm not going to go back and try to recreate that. That's just too much work. This is a long video anyway. I think I've hit all the high points, and I just at this point want to remind you to look into the description box for all of my links. If you haven't already purchased Artistly, maybe you were waiting to see if you could actually do storybook illustration and needed somebody to kind of show you how it works and how the consistent character feature, which has gotten very mixed reviews and a lot of complaints. And I think I have worked through a lot in this video of the troubleshooting, what you can do to make and have more consistent results with that consistent feature. And creating your characters and how to go about that. I also shared with you how you can pull everything into Canva to actually lay out your storybook, how you can create separately your background so that you have much more control and flexibility with those. And so down in the description, I have the links for not only my affiliate link, there's a code, I believe it's 10% off. When you click on it, it'll be right at the top. Be sure and plug that in to save that money. If it's still available, because I don't know when you're going to be watching this. But anyway, if you find a code somewhere, plug it in and try it. Most of the time it works with my affiliate link. So you can save a little bit of money that way. And so also, If you want the playbooks or you want to learn a little bit more about them, then they're available on Etsy and Gumroad. If you are in the EU, you'll have to purchase through Gumroad because they're not available on Etsy. And I have a code. It is for the playbooks, and it is summer50, and that'll get you 50% off on those on Gumroad. Now, that amount is in a sale on Etsy, so you don't have to worry about typing a code in. It's just available on Etsy that way. So, also, the Junk Journal playbook is only available on Gumroad. It's not available on Etsy, but otherwise the rest of them are. So, basically, the playbooks, one of the things I wanted to kind of go back and show you with them was that, like, volume 2 is just amazing for doing storybooks because it has some special features that you can apply to that. It has lots of general clip art type aesthetics, whimsical, fantasy, gothic, whimsical fantasy. Again, this is whimsical and fun. This is whimsical and fantasy. You have soft and dreamy. You have your textured and mixed media illustration. You have then the fashion illustration. So you've got sci-fi, you've got high fashion, you've got fantasy and mythological, cultural, gothic, bohemian, retro, luxury, fantasy, and sci-fi armor and accessories. So this is where you can pull in all of those elements. Let me just show you. So let's go into the armor and accessories. So basically, this is like if you've got a medieval knight, then you can use some of this phrasing to get just the right components for your knight's armor. Let's just say you want some accessories, like you want dragon scales and you want them on the armor or the gauntlets. You want some you want glowing symbols, and you want helmets and this sort of thing. So all of this, here's your textures and brushstrokes, like polished steel, textured chainmail. All of these things, when you're illustrating, are going to be just your amazing toolkit for getting the images the way you want them and not just plain old images. These are really good also for you to implement if you're not doing storybooks, but you're doing videos. I know that the new Video Express 2 is really getting some good reviews, and a lot of people are wanting to try their hand at doing the little videos, the animated videos, and the playbooks definitely can help you out with that and help you to create some amazing imagery and characters. So if you're going to do your characters, make sure you dress them properly. And so that's one of the features in the volume 2. Then if you're in, that's the Junk Journal one. If you are in the regular volume, I'm sorry, this is the colors. So I have a color playbook that helps you with like hue, saturation, contrast, your tone, all of those different elements to help you. It has palettes for different types of things. Let me go back here to the palettes. So different palette creations. So, where you want to go beyond just asking and prompting for blue, all the different shades and how to get those different variations and shades and all that. So this is mastering color in AI art, and it's very handy. And then the original playbook is 416 pages. And this playbook, I'll just show you what it looks like. Okay, so it covers all these different artistic styles, and it even has a concept art and fantasy illustration section, which is awesome for if you are doing those videos or if you're doing the storybooks and you want your backgrounds to be authentic, and it helps you with lighting and mood. And, if you want to do a comic or whatever, this even has a section for that. Let's go back in here. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so this pop art or the street art and graffiti, the pop art is great for like when you're working on comic type things. It'll help you with the prompting for that, for, your more comic elements where you've got those bold graphics and you want that pop art look. So comic books and things like that, which is so great. Okay, so all the links are in the description. Be sure and join my Facebook group and my weekly newsletter. Those will be extra support for you and help and guidance and just a lot of fun. We have a great time inside my group, and those are both free. And so be sure and join them. And then the links to, like I said, the playbooks. Be sure and remember Gumroad. The code is summer50. EU creators use Gumroad. Anybody that wants the junk journal playbook, go to Gumroad. And Etsy has all but the junk journal one for just the regular people that aren't in the EU that want to purchase. They can purchase with either one, Gumroad or Etsy. And the sale is already implemented on Etsy, so you don't have to type in a code there. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you had a great time and learned a lot, and I can't wait to see the stories that you're going to create and the beautiful art to accompany them that you created in Artistly or wherever. The playbooks are going to work in pretty much any, these are kind of applicable, other than Artistly does have the consistent character feature. So I'm not sure how that would work with other generators that don't have that feature for the consistency. But otherwise, if it's just, you just want the playbooks for just to help you with your artwork and your AI prompting, then they're great for that. They'll work in any generator. But for storybooks, Artistly is the one that has the consistent character feature that we were using. So have a great day. And until next time, happy creating.